Welcome to Follow South Jersey's Follow Salem podcast about the people, places, and all things good in Salem, New Jersey. Today, our guest is Kina Nichols. Kina is a program coordinator with Hopeloft, a nonprofit network of organizations, programs, and projects dedicated to solving social issues. Kina runs the Community Promise Academy here in Salem. Community Promise Academy is an after-school program housed in the Serving the Light Ministries building that offers after-school homework help as well as snacks and other organized activities for the youth of Salem. Hi, welcome to Follow South Jersey's Follow Salem podcast about the people, places, and all things that are good in Salem. My name is Dean Johnson. I am the editor-in-chief of Follow South Jersey, and our guest today is Kina Nichols. Kina is the program coordinator for Hopeloft and runs the Community Promise Academy here in Salem. Hi, how you doing?
Doing all right.
It's great to see you. Thanks for being with us. So let everybody know, who's Kina Nichols? Where'd you grow up, go to school? Something a little about your background.
So born and raised here in Salem. Let's see, I went up through the school district, huge people person, family oriented, very mothering, I would say, which is probably why I have a career right now with kids. I double majored at Swarthmore College in educational studies and psychology. Currently going to school for a master's in couples and family therapy. A little bit about outside of that. I guess I'm a huge sports fan. Steelers are playing tonight.
They are?
They're my team.
They are? The Steelers are your team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Die hard. My dad was, his uncle was before him. It's kind of now a tradition. Someone has to be the die hard.
Right.
I guess it's me. Let's see, I love playing sports. I play rugby. Getting back into working out every day.
Good.
Just making sure my health is right. Let's see. That's
That's
it.
a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
So you said you were a people person.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I love spending time with my family, my friends. Honestly, anytime I have time off or just downtime, I love just spending it with people. I'm not really a person to want to spend time alone. I just love being in the company of others. Good vibes.
So you said you're heading towards a career, or you're in a career that deals with youth, that deals with counseling, service to community. What brought that about? Like, why is that important to you? Is there maybe something that happened when you said, hey, you know what? I really like this. This is my skill set.
Honestly, I think it was just growing up in a big family. I have 4 siblings.
Are you the oldest, youngest, middle?
I am in the middle.
You're in the middle.
Dead
I'm
middle.
also a middle child, by the way. So there you go.
Yeah, so I'm dead middle. So 2 older, 2 younger. I was just always seeming to be taking care of everyone in any way that they needed. So when I went to college, I knew I wanted to do something helping people, giving back. I always volunteered and stuff like that. And I think going through the experiences that I had in college, first I went in pre-med, double major in psychology and chemistry, because I wanted to be a psychiatrist. Learned very quickly that this the chemistry that I loved in high school was not the same.
Right.
So I quickly switched to educational studies, and I found that I could help children and families more by finding resources to give them to help educationally and psychologically.
Okay.
So my main goal in life, I guess at this point, is just to provide other people with any other resources, insights, anything that they need to be whole and healthy human beings.
So now you've been with Hopeloft since October 23.
A whole year.
A whole year. Congratulations, making it a year. So what are some of the things you do as a program coordinator there?
Yeah, so I kind of make sure everything runs smoothly.
What do you mean by everything? Help me out with everything.
Yeah, so I do anything from planning our daily programming, like what workshops or activities that they're going to be doing during, the 3 to 6 time after school, to just going to the store and picking up snacks, making sure that we are doing things based off of our grant, making sure that What else am I doing? Oh, we do a lot of community service.
Right.
So
tell us about some of the community service projects
yeah, of course.
that you've
So most recently, and even tomorrow. So tomorrow we are participating in a Thanksgiving drive in
That's
which
November
we are
22nd.
Yes.
Right.
Oh no, not tomorrow. Sorry, the 23rd. The 23rd we're participating in a drive. So Saturday.
Okay.
Getting my days mixed up. So Saturday we are participating in a Thanksgiving drive in which we're going to be handing out baskets and food to not only people who are in need, but people who just need a little more help during the Thanksgiving season, making sure that they're feeding their whole families. So we're doing that. We have partnered with Pastor Michelle and First Baptist Church to do any and every type of community service that they are possibly doing. So like we're doing the food pantry, we're doing their women's art ministry. We are also now partnering with Southgate. I think it's called Autumn Lake now. It's the nursing homes that are around Salem County.
45.
Yeah, so we're partnering with them just to kind of do anything that they want and need us to do. So that could be something that we're working on now is we're creating crafts and we're writing little messages like, I'm thankful for you, and sending it to the residents who live there, because a lot of the time, many of them don't have family who come and visit.
Right.
And we're going to be doing probably some of that stuff, like playing games with them, visiting them, stuff like that. We're working a couple things out. We have some meetings in the works.
Right. Now, who goes there with you? Like if you're doing the games and stuff, do the kids, the youth
Yep.
goes there with you?
Yep.
So you mentioned about the after-school program, the 3 to 6 afternoons. That is the Community Promise Academy.
Yes.
Correct, CPA. How did that program begin? Or was it already going when you got here?
No. So I was hired in October, and we just started going on trips to recruit kids. So the first thing that we did, we actually went to. Oh no! First thing we did was community service.
Okay.
We had 3 kids back in November of 2023 who did the same Thanksgiving drive that we're doing this year again. And then the next month over in December, we took a group of 30 or so kids to Otherworld. It's an immersive art museum in Philadelphia. And then we also did a Christmas dinner, which I organized and put on here in Salem at Serving the Light. That was our first. Recruiting event here in Salem, like actually here in Salem,
Right.
in which we invited families of all shapes and sizes, children of all ages, to come and just have a Christmas dinner, play games, and just be in fellowship with each other. We started the program in January. We had about 10 kids come out, and then over the time, we just gained more and more, and we've been doing a lot since then. So,
Right. How many kids do you have now in the program?
Highest number that we've had, 57.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. So what are some of the activities that are happening between 3 and 6, aside from, what you mentioned, going on trips and things like that?
Yeah, so based on the day, it's different activities going on. So right now, on Tuesdays, they have Wanija come in, and that is a pen pal program in which they are going to be writing to children in other countries. Right now, we're focused on Nigeria.
That's cool.
So we're doing that. We're also learning about other countries, doing activities like making their own maps is one thing that they did. And every session they write a new letter to their pen pal in Nigeria.
Right.
That's Wednesday. On Thursday, so today they'll have Snap Ed come in to teach a cooking and education and nutrition education class, and that happens every Thursday. And then Fridays are usually our fun days. So last week we just did like a taste test class in which they're just tasting a bunch of random things, and we're hoping that at the end of that we are going to have a bunch of dishes from other countries. Like in the summer, we did sushi, we did jollof rice from Nigeria, we did oxtails from Jamaica, things like that. So we're always having a good time.
So you're bringing in other organizations as well.
Yes.
How do you coordinate that? How do you do just a quick cold phone call? What do you?
Yeah, so honestly, I do a lot of volunteer work outside of CPA, on my own, as well as just attending meetings or whatever's going on in Salem, and then I meet a bunch of people, and then whatever workshops they have. Like right now, I also word of mouth is really great. So I've done a lot with the Family Success Center here in Salem, in which we have partnered with them, and then they'll tell people about us, and then I'll get an email or a phone call like, hey, we love what you're doing, can you partner with us? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Whatever honestly, whatever resources we can give to our kids.
What are some of your favorite activities with CPA? or what are even some favorites for the youth?
I honestly think it's our Saturday sessions, which sometimes end up being Sunday sessions, but it's our field trips and our community service, because that's the time that I can kind of sit back and see the kids for who they are and interact with them in not just a program coordinator way, but in a
mentor?
More mentor peer way. I'm only 23,
right?
So I'm not too much older than them.
What is the age group?
The age group, so our grant is based off of 11 to 18. However, we are not going to create a barrier for kids to come in to our doors every day. So we will service. We've serviced children all the way down to 5 years old, because they're siblings of the kids who are coming in who are 11 to 18.
Right.
So
So the Saturdays.
From 5 to on up, pretty much.
What responses are you getting from parents?
They love it. Whether it's because we're getting the kids out the house, whether it's because we're keeping the kids off the street, whether it's because we're exposing them to so much more than just Salem and what it is, or whether it's because we're giving back. We've seen pretty good responses from parents. So.
And this is it's a free program.
Yes, everything's completely free. Parents pay absolutely nothing.
Why is it this type of program important for the Salem community?
Yeah, being a person who was born and raised in Salem, if it were not for my parents keeping me in so many things, at the time I was like, oh my God, please stop. But now that I'm 23 years old, I see that me being exposed to so much, as well as being in so much, I stayed away from a lot of the negativity that
could have pulled you in.
Yeah. So I think that programs like this, but also taking the children outside of Salem, lets them see all of what they can be and what they can do. Things that they don't usually get the chance to see.
Right. Are there plans to expand the program? Or you just want to keep going at an even keel right now?
I would love to expand the program, but I think that's a larger conversation that needs to be had.
Right. So you work a lot with the youth. How do you motivate them to first of all want to, it's after school. A lot of kids. I mean, when I was younger, I walk out to school, I'm done school.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It changes every day. Every day, we walk in the doors and we're just we're gonna do this. What's the saying is God plans and man plans, God laughs. It's true. Every day we plan certain things, but based on kids' tiredness, attitudes, things like that. Even just them being regular kids, we have to continuously change up the way that we do things. So constant motivation from us, encouragement, and just trying to teach them that the skills and activities that we're showing them, they could use later on. But yeah, lots of snacks.
They're receptive. Well, yeah, food. And they're receptive to that?
Yeah, they're pretty receptive. Something that we created was something called CPA Bucks, in which it's money for good behavior, not just inside the program, but outside the program. So if they bring in a progress report and it's A's and B's, we're giving them CPA Bucks for that as well. And it's just showing them that hard work and I don't want to just say good behavior, because what good is relative, but behavior that we're trying to teach them so that they're then successful in society.
Right.
That's what we're looking for, because all of our children are very unique, very different, and we love that. However, society looks at them a certain way.
Right.
So unfortunately, we have to teach them that there are certain things that they have to do to be accepted by society, and sometimes even more so because we do work with a lot of Black and brown children.
Right. What can they get with the bucks?
Yeah, so it ranges from candy to plushies to
They love plushies.
kind of whatever they want.
Right.
It depends on, how much they've saved up, but it's not easy either. So $1, like US dollar, is equal to 50 CPA bucks. And it's not easy to make 50 CPA bucks.
Right.
So a good progress report could get you 10 CPA bucks. Okay. But we're not just, if they have A's and B's, great. But if they have like A's, B's, and C's, okay, you still get something because you're trying. We're seeing that you're working hard and that you're trying to make progress.
Seeing progress.
Yeah.
Seeing progress. So I mean, you're 23. You're young, but the kids will still see you as an adult. How do you build rapport? Because I think it's important, right? To have the rapport with those kids. How do you do that?
Honestly, just being your authentic self. Me being my authentic self, I show them that I care about them. And it's not just
What does that look like?
It's
not just saying I care for you.
No, it's showing them. It's all of the things that we plan. It's not just they're coming in and they're just there to hang out. It's us planning the food for them, taking their input into and their feedback into everything. Mm-hmm. We ask them, what they want to do and what they want to see and what gifts they want from us and what candy they like and what snacks they like and where they want to go for our Saturday sessions.
So they get to make some of those decisions.
Yeah, they definitely do. So I think that they're very receptive to our staff also because we're from Salem. Mm-hmm. It's not like an outsider looking in, and they trust us. They trust that we have their best interest in mind, and we want to have fun, but there are rules to follow so that we can have fun.
Right. How do you deal with the rule breakers, if you will? Have you had any issues, not naming names, of course, behavioral challenges? Yeah,
it changes every day. We try to stick to, what we have in our code of conduct and what we have in our CPA packets, mm-hmm. what they sign when they first sign up. But honestly, communication with parents, communication with them, we see every day that they want to be there simply by walking in the door. And we remind them of that. Like, you want to be here, and for you to be here and to be safe, and for us to do that, you have to help us help you.
Right.
And that's by following the rules. And sometimes that's a lot harder because, things happen outside of CPA that we have nothing to deal with, but, it comes in and we just try to deal with it the best way that we possibly can.
Right. Earlier you mentioned mentorship.
Yeah.
Is that part of the program?
Not as much as I would like it to be. A lot of the older students mentor the younger ones in a lot of different ways, but it's nothing concrete. Right. It's a lot of, some of the older ones might help the younger ones with homework. We help them with homework. When we're on our Saturday sessions, a lot of the older ones will take the younger ones under their wing. Mm-hmm. So we went to urban air, and I just kind of made it known no one should be walking around by themselves.
Right.
That's a simple rule that we had. And I could see a lot of the older students who usually may not have talked to some of the younger ones, hey, you're by yourself, why don't you come with us? Type of situation. And it was beautiful to see because even though they may not have hung out with each other outside of that situation, we saw that they were willing to do that just to make sure that the other person was okay. And it was great.
Wow, that's a beautiful moment. So what do you believe is the most important aspect of like youth development? I think about, you're going into counseling, educational studies.
It's hard to say one thing, but a lot of what I'm learning, even in grad school and in my experience as a program coordinator, it's just meeting needs. Every time you see a child or an adolescent or anybody, even adults, acting out, doing things that are quote unquote socially unacceptable, it's because a need is not being met. Whether it's they're hungry or they just need someone to listen or they're in pain because, whatever is going on, like that is the need that needs to be met. And when needs aren't met, that's when you have complex trauma. That's when you have people who are just not doing okay.
How do you assess that? I mean, you're going to, you say it changes all the time because one day a kid is fine, the next day something happened outside of CPA and it brings it in.
Honestly, just that, being able to notice that a child is generally happy and talking and laughing, and then the next day they come in and nothing. They're blank.
And what do you do then?
Simply talking to them, trying to get them to laugh, telling jokes, everything like that. So.
Right. And that seems to work.
Just giving them that little extra attention.
So can you describe a time when you've worked as part of a team? When you have, how many people are on the staff?
Yeah, so I'm the program coordinator. We then have a community liaison.
What does a community liaison do?
Everything.
Sounds like everybody does everything, right?
Yeah, I think that in nonprofit work, and honestly any type of work where you're servicing people, you kind of just have to be open and flexible to doing anything that they might need, and helping out your fellow man. Like we're not doing this for us and for pay, even though pay is nice.
Of course.
But we're not doing it for us. We're doing it for the people that we service, and that they're the most important. So on a general basis, community liaison, she is the one who finds a lot of the community service work that we do, if it's me or her. So we kind of work in tandem with each other. Anything that I can't do, I ask her to do, and anything that she can't do, she asks me to do. Right. She is the one who is in charge when I'm not there. And then we have our instructor who is in charge of putting together activities and plans for the kids for days that we don't have another
a group coming in?
Yeah, another group coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you describe a situation where you guys have helped resolve a conflict? Because I'm sure conflicts occur.
Yeah. Depending on the conflict and the volatility of it. So we've had kids who maybe got into it in school. And, we had a young lady who came in and she was ready to fight. She was looking for the girl, asking for her by name, and simply, I took her out of the situation, out of the main room, and just had a conversation with her one-on-one. And in that moment, it's less about being as professional as you possibly can and just telling her, look, I care about you and I care about the other young lady that you're trying to fight, and it's not going to happen here. Right. And it's simply because, again, it was a whole situation where, me looking at it, I can tell that the girls are just trying to belong, and they had other people telling them that the other person was talking about them, and I just told them, I was like, you guys are ultimately giving them entertainment. Everybody outside of this situation, because it was over nonsense. It was over, I heard you were talking about me, and just general girl, preteen kind of stuff. And just kind of letting them know that you guys really have nothing that you were actually fighting over. Right. So and they were fine after that. Maybe a little looking here and there, but for the most part, I think they understood that there was absolutely nothing that they were actually fighting over. Yeah, it's a lot of de-escalation. I find that a lot of the children nowadays are a lot more volatile. COVID definitely hurt their development in a lot of ways. That was one of the main things I studied in undergrad was human development, especially adolescence. Right. So I'm just seeing it every day.
What was the effect?
So a lot of the children who were in let me take our 8th graders because they're our most volatile group right now. Okay. 4 years ago, when COVID first hit, they were 4th graders. Right. So their development was stunted and they had no more socialization. So parents socialize their kids so that they're able to deal with them, but not society, not teachers, not, program coordinators, stuff like that. So things that they're easily able to maybe yell at a child and, rear them to do as they want them to do.
Right.
These are the things that we're seeing that, okay, so if someone gets on your nerves, you can't just let it go. You have to say something.
Right.
Or, they can't regulate their emotions in a way that is developmentally appropriate for an 8th grader.
Right.
They're showing 4th grade behavior as 8th graders, even though they're 14 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
How's that being addressed? And is that gap going to start closing at some point, or is this just a generation who's always going to have some sort of developmental delay?
I think educationally, because that's where it mainly is, that is why behavior management has become such a large part of teaching. A lot of the time, many people who are teachers are not getting through their standards, they're not getting through their lessons because they're continuously having to manage behavior. And I think programs like CPA help with that because we're less educational, more social emotional learning, more social skills, things like that. I think that the more that we have programs like that, it'll help out. But again, it's going to continue to be on the educational side to continue to try and implement that in school as well.
Right.
And not just have it on the teachers, but like assemblies, different things like that, people coming in to teach them the skills that they just haven't learned at home.
Wow. So, what do you think is the most important qualities for someone who wants to get into a career that you're getting into? What are those qualities? I guess you're talking about yourself again.
Honestly, just passion. You have to know why you're doing it. It can't just be something you're doing for money because you're just going to get burnt out. I'll tell you now, every day I get up and I just kind of chill out in the morning because I know that I'm going to come in.
Have you ever experienced burnout?
Yes. Oh, several times, especially in undergrad. So undergrad, I was not only double majoring, but I was also doing lots of educational placements, clinical placements, because both psychology and educational studies, you have to be immersed in people to understand how everything is working, everything that you're learning.
Right.
So, plus I was president of my rugby team, and that's a lot as well.
Right.
But you just manage it because you do what you love. I think that's what's kept me going in a lot of situations where I have been burnt out, is because if I'm not doing it for myself, it's fine because I'm doing it for other people and I know I'm doing it something good.
What is most challenging for you personally doing this type of work? Is it dealing with trauma? After a day dealing with a child who may have experienced trauma, and then walking home and realizing that part of that trauma is still on your shoulders.
Yeah, honestly, I would say that's it. Either that or it's a back and forth with me feeling like I just am not doing enough versus just being disappointed that what we're doing is still not going to be enough for the kids, and then you get disappointed by continuous behavior that they've already brought in.
Right.
I've had to learn that they've had 11 to 18 years of the same old socialization in a small town that has taught them learned helplessness. It's taught them to not care about their future. It's taught them not to have delayed gratification, like they need something right here, right now for them to be motivated to do it.
Right.
So now we're having to teach them all these things that they haven't learned. And yeah, some of them are coming in with some of the most horrific stories.
Right.
Some of my, 6-year-olds, some of my 10-year-olds have lost parents to gun violence here in town. and like being able to sit here and say that I grew up with two parents in the household and things like that, I think that's what pushed me to want to become a couple and family therapist, because here in Salem, yes, a lot of the time therapy is, it's very stigmatized. I remember growing up, if you went to what they called back then healthcare commons, it's because you had something wrong.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with seeking help, So here in town, like, I want to be able to help two parents co-parent a child, in a way that continues to help the child grow.
Right.
I want to be able to have children who have experienced trauma come into my door and like help as a family to get them into a better space. It's also something that I want to do that we're not going to keep normalizing people dying early. Parents and young men being shot by each other, by just dying early and not needing to.
Right.
So
you think it has become normalized, or it is?
It definitely has
society?
become normalized.
Yeah.
It's become a pattern where, everything's normal, everything seems fine, and then there's a huge loss in the community of, a young man who is a football coach or, a mentor to some of the young boys who has been killed. And then everybody's in an uproar, and then, the funeral is attended by hundreds of people,
Right.
and then it goes back to the same thing. But we have, small groups like Mothers Against Violence and things like that, who are putting on marches and parades and things like that, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's just not enough. There's no reason why a 13-year-old boy should have been gunned down.
Right. So programs like the Community Promise Academy can help the root causes.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't continue.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of your work?
Honestly, just seeing the kids' smiling faces.
How do you measure success? The same way.
Success to me is bringing everyone home on the bus.
Okay, so you can count. That's why you got to count and recount and count again.
Honestly, success is just seeing them experience something new.
Okay.
Experience something new and them saying, let's do it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Where do you see yourself in, say, 3 to 5 years?
Graduated.
Right.
Licensed. Probably back here, trying to build the same thing that we're doing here at CPA. Not so much focused on just activities, but more of a holistic approach, therapy, things like that.
Right.
Again, just providing what's not already being provided. A lot of the time it's therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
And getting the people to actually go to the therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, there are programs out there, and mental health is an issue.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's stigmatized. How do we destigmatize it?
I like to think about how people will go to pastors for problems. It's the same thing.
Right.
We just have to let them know that no one's trying to be in your business. No one's trying to take your kids away. We're just trying to find an appropriate and a reasonable way to cope with what we're already going through.
Right.
As human beings, as Black and brown people, as people in general. Complex trauma is a thing. And trauma is not just seeing someone get killed or going to war.
Right.
Trauma happens every day. And I think that's where we have to start getting people to understand what it is and that it's not a bad thing.
Right. And you're starting that at CPA.
Yeah.
Getting the kids to understand that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I'm going to ask you a few last questions.
Yeah.
These are more on the fun side.
Yeah.
All right, let's give you a chance. Because it's a light, heavy conversation.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some of your favorites.
Okay.
So, favorite music? If you don't say Tupac, I don't know. But
favorite music, very much depends on my mood. It could be hip hop, it could be R&B, it could be neo soul, it could be pop. It really depends on the day.
You're very eclectic.
Yeah.
It depends on the
Yeah.
day. Favorite book?
Oh God. I don't think I have one.
No,
I
that's
have
okay.
such a I have a library at my house.
Mhm.
Honestly, that's the hardest thing to move whenever I move.
Right.
They're heavy.
Right.
Yeah.
Milk crates.
I got a new book today.
What-
Yeah, it's
what
called
book?
Bless the Blood.
Okay.
It's a cancer memoir. It's a bunch of poems and essays and things. So
Nice. Very good.
getting ready to
Favorite
read
movie?
that. Favorite movie? I'm kind of a rom-com type of person, so
Uh-huh.
Just Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite movie right now.
All right. Very good. What's a favorite place you've traveled?
Favorite place that I've traveled? I don't know. I've been a good amount of places with a good amount of people, and they've all been great. I've traveled for rugby,
Uh-huh.
so I've played in national tournaments in Texas, so that was great.
Okay.
I've gone to Florida with my boyfriend, and that was amazing.
Uh-huh.
I've gone to North Carolina with my family, so honestly, it's not so much about the place, but the people and the things that I've done there.
Very good.
Yeah.
So that's not where you are, but who you're with.
Yeah.
Very cool. And what is a perfect day off for Kina?
Kind of just relaxing in the morning, but having something planned with friends and family sometime in the afternoon and evening,
Very good.
and then lots of sleep.
Very good. Kina, thank you very much for your time
Yeah.
and your insight. I really appreciate it. We've been talking with Kina Nichols, who is a program coordinator for Hopeloft and currently runs the Community Promise Academy here in Salem. For Follow South Jersey and Follow Salem podcast, I'm Dean Johnson. Thank you for watching.